Well, this is an awesome story. Really excited to chat with our next guest here on GCR because he has now officially joined the UFC. He is a Dundalk native. He is one of our own. He's Dylan Budka, and he's with us here on GCR. Dylan, man, it's Glenn in Baltimore. So happy for you. Thank you for taking the time for us.
I appreciate you having me, brother.
Dude, I'm going to ask the broad question that then can bring us back to, what happened like last week, right? But let's start broadly. When I say, how did this happen? I hope you understand what I'm meaning is like, take me back to you're a kid. You're growing up here. You're wrestling. You're playing football. How did that path from growing up here in Baltimore County lead you now to this point where you are officially a UFC fighter?
Man, every bit of it. Starting, I played little league ball back home in Essex. I played high school ball at Kenwood and Dundalk High School.
Mm-hmm.
I played football at Dundalk High School and Kenwood High School. I wrestled at Kenwood and Dundalk High School. I went to Dundalk Middle. Played basketball. Went to Middlesex Elementary. Went to Summers Run Middle School and played sports there. Man, it was crazy. It's just crazy how all that led up to what I'm doing now. I never thought I'd even be fighting at all. I thought I was gonna be an NFL football player one day or a baseball star one day. But all of it past made me pave the way to what I'm doing now, and all of it attributes to what I'm doing now too right now. So yeah, yep.
Yeah.
And,
All right. So,
yeah,
so let me go back a little ways. You graduate from Kenwood, right? You
yeah.
wrestling was the path at that point, correct?
Oh yeah, my senior year, I decided I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's just wrestle a little bit in college and go try to win an Olympic championship.
So you, at what point after, like, once you've committed to wrestling, at what point does the thought start creeping in your mind? Like, a lot of wrestlers make really good UFC fighters. Like, at what point do you have the first thought of like, maybe combat sports is the direction that I'm going to go with this?
I started off wrestling at Urbana University my freshman year, and then I transferred from there to Notre Dame College.
Okay.
When I went there, I would be at the end of practice, and I would see fighters coming in there and training that are from Ohio because Notre Dame was one of the biggest colleges for wrestling in Ohio. So a lot of fighters from around this area go there. So I would stay after practice and see some of the fighters coming in. Jessica I
Okay.
seen Joey Day go in there a couple times from Bellator. Um, Kobe Fair, Alex Poirier, a whole bunch of fighters that little on the lower level, but still got a lot of shine and stuff like that. And I would like just peek my head in and see what they're doing. I'm like, damn, maybe I can do that too. And then I ran into the fighters over at Demolition Fight Team.
Wow. And all of a sudden your life changed. And here you
Yeah, yeah,
are. Dylan
yeah.
Budka is with us.
It
So
changed
so
a lot.
let's go to that next step. For people that don't know, you end up fighting on Dana White's Contender series for an opportunity to get a UFC contract. How take me through again, I'm learning everything in this process, right? Like the steps from getting involved in fighting and fighting. I think a lot of people around here are, for example, and they're familiar with Shogun, right? And John
Oh
Rollo's
yeah.
company and the fights they run now down at Live Casino and Hotel. What is the step between getting involved with a promotion where you were to getting on the radar of Dana White and the UFC? How does that happen?
Well, as an amateur, I fought for literally every promotion I could possibly find. I went in like I kind of was like stalking all the best people at my weight class, trying to go find who I could beat, where I could beat them, what states I could beat them in. I fought in Alabama, I fought in Kentucky, I fought in Ohio, PA. I went to all the best states and tried to beat all the best guys that were in my weight class at the time, 205 and heavyweight. And from there, I turned pro, and instantly I was on UFC Fight Pass shows from um the competition I went against as a amateur. So they were already scouting me out a little bit. But as soon as I went pro, I was trying to fight as much as possible and fight all the best people at my weight class on the regional scene before I went to the national scene. So if I was talking to somebody that wanted to do it as well, I'd probably say fight as much as possible and fight everybody as quick as possible so you
Mm.
can get that experience and build that resume up so they can see that you really love doing this. Because the first thing that Dana and Mick and all the people said when they seen my stats, they said, "Damn, this boy fought 18 times in the last 2 years.
Jeez.
They like seeing that.
That is nuts, bro. Like that is
Yeah.
crazy, man. All right, so you get on the radar, and then you get this opportunity to fight as part of Dana White's Contender series, and like now, like S is getting real. Like
Yeah.
this is no like now you've had all these fights and you've been doing all the work, but now this is the moment. What is it like to be a part of this? To know what's at stake? How do you? And part of it obviously is that you're gifted, right? Like I understand that part of it's just having a talent, but from the mental side of things, handling the stakes of this and being ready to go to fight in this spot, what's that all about?
Um, it's definitely nerve wracking, especially with how I took it. I took it on a couple days' notice. I had to bang out the medicals and travel and go here and
Did
go
you know
there.
anything about this dude, Chad Hanacom, that you fought?
No, we literally took it. So I fought at heavyweight August 26th, and then I was actually on vacation back in my sister's house in Baltimore, in Essex, and we got the call in the back porch. I just had like 3 crab pretzels the day before and crabs and shrimp.
Oh, you gotta suddenly drop like 10 pounds in the span of a
Yeah,
day.
yeah. And right away we got the call, and I was like, "Damn, yeah, we'll take it. Fuck it, let's do it." Who like this is if you're not in the sport to get to that point, then you shouldn't even be doing it. Like, regardless if I was 35 pounds over or 25 or 10 or 15, I'm making that weight cut because like that I just changed my life forever now.
Yep.
So like, but it's nerve wracking. But I started to tell myself, I was like, this is what we've been working for the whole time. We deserve this. We belong here, and we're meant to be here. And I got really good at controlling my emotions throughout my career. My team, my coach, and everything did a good job of putting me in them big moments before I got to the big moment. So that's another thing with getting that experience and going against everybody before you get to the big show. So I was prepared and I was ready, and I knew that I was meant to be there.
He's Dylan Budka, Baltimore County's own. He's with us. He's now officially a UFC fighter. Those words, right? Like you win the fight. You realize like how much gravity is there in that moment where you're like, oh my God. And I know that you still have bigger goals. Like I understand just getting in isn't what you want to do. You want to win fights, you want to win like I get that. But as far as moments go, I can't imagine there's anything so far that is compared to like the realization of holy F, I'm actually in the UFC now.
Bro, it's literally like it was like the greatest feeling of ever in my entire life. I was in another meeting with somebody. I hope everybody experiences that feeling at least once in their life. It was just like, okay, it all paid off. I can do it now. And like past couple years for me, it been a couple rough years. I went through a whole bunch of stuff. I lost my dad, I lost my mom. And in that moment I just felt like I was finally at peace for the first time in a long time, man.
Bro, that's powerful, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me well up a little bit, like talking about that, dude. Like I can only imagine how much more meaningful that makes it for you to try to accomplish all these goals that you've had. And you mentioned all the sports that you play. I imagine you think about the sacrifices that your parents made for you to try to give you those opportunities. And like how much does that matter to you now moving forward that you want it to be, even though they can't, they're not with you anymore, to know that like everything they did for you, you're gonna go pay off.
Oh man, it means the world. And that night when I was able to just look at the camera and say, Dad, I did it. I knew that he was there that night, and I knew that he was watching. And I went through a lot of stuff after he passed, and I feel like after I won that fight, he's at peace. I feel like I got a little bit more peaceful in my life. The sport has done way much more for me than just allowed me to win. It's allowed me to learn who I am as a man, and made me learn how to adapt kind of more to situations like that. And that night a lot changed for me inside and on the outside because I was able to accomplish that big goal that I know my dad wanted me to too.
Dude, I'm so happy for you, man. That's incredible. That is really powerful stuff, bro. All right, so it's still a small group, right? Like it's still a small fraternity of there's a lot of fighters in Baltimore, but there's not a ton that have gone on to, reach this level. I know Tucker Lutz obviously recently has been someone that's been able to do it. What does that mean to you, knowing like this is still like you're breaking ground still at this point? Like this is not like Baltimore, this area has not been fertile for getting guys to the UFC. How powerful is that for you, for like other kids that now want to look at you and say like, well, if he can do it, maybe I could do it too?
Oh man, that's like another blessing too, man. I've had like my phone blew up so much, and I'm trying to make time to answer everybody back because I know a lot of people forget to answer them people back after they make. I don't want to be that guy, but it motivates me. It gives me another reason that I'm fighting for something now. I'm fighting. I see messages. Sorry, did I lose you?
No, I got you back. You're good.
Right, yeah, there you go. I get messages all the time now saying I'm doing this because of you. I started up now because of you, and it just makes me feel good that my story, my everything I'm doing is impacting the whole world now, and that's another reason why I started this sport, so I could change the lives of other people too, and get my story out there, so other people can say, "Hey, Dylan did it. We can do this too." And I come from the schools where kids don't think they can because we're from Baltimore. So I'm like, no, you can. You just got to get up out of Baltimore first.
You got to bust your ass too. Obviously, you got to work.
You got to work hard.
And I'm sure that's sort of what you're feeling too, is all of the work that you put in to get to this point. And you mentioned fighting like every freaking day, in the course of a year in order to make it. So let's touch on this. All the fighters that I've known over the years, I feel like there's two different types of people, because I know once you get into the ring, once you get into the octagon now, you have to be psychopath. Like I understand that's the way it works, but I feel like there's a group of fighters, one that's more reserved, that's a little bit quieter, and then turns on psychopath. And when I brought up Tucker, he's somebody that reminds me of that, a little bit more reserved dude. Then he gets in, and then he turns it on. I know Pat Downey, for example, is just pure on psychopath. Like that's how he lives his life, and he would tell you that right now. Is which is, or do you fall more into the category? Are you like full on at all times, I'm crazy, or are you the more reserved dude that like everybody like, wow, how are you a UFC fighter? That the moment you walk out in that ring, all of a sudden you're a different person.
Oh, I would say I'm that. I'm the guy that just chill. Like I can kick it back and have fun and hang out and talk about other. I actually like when I'm outside of practice and outside of fight camp, I really don't like talking about the fighting or being around fighting. I just like to chill and hang out with the homies and eat food and talk about everything else but it, because I do this every day, bro. I do it 3 times a day, practice 3 times a day. I'm around it all day long. So there's times when you need to give your brain a rest from it or you'll
100%.
tire yourself out. Yeah. I do this stuff every day.
On a much smaller scale, when I am, as people talk, my wife is not a sports fan whatsoever. And people are like, oh, how does that work? I'm like, I would not want to come home after doing this for 5 hours, right? And then have her like, oh, what the hell did you think about Brandon Hyde pulling Dean Kramer last night? Like I just did that. I have no more interest in that at this point. So it worked out perfectly that way. Goals now, you're in, right? Like, so map out for me the next year, the next couple of years. Where do your goals go now that you've achieved this first really massive goal, but I'm sure you have more that you've got in front of you?
I already started getting the weight down again. We're starting to train again a little bit, starting to get back into the groove of things. We're going to go up to the PI and go through some testing and see if I can even get to the 170 weight class.
Okay.
Dana hinted on that. He said he really wants me to be there. But in my last fight, I cut 25 pounds in 4 days. So my body looked a little off and I didn't look as healthy as I usually do. So we'll see if I can even make it. But I want to bang these next 4 fights out as quick as possible and get to the next contract. I'm ready to take over the middleweight division if it's that, or the welterweight division, and I'm ready to bring back a strap to Baltimore too.
Oh man, we gotta have a parade at that point. We gotta do the whole thing. I'm all for that, bro. More champs in Baltimore. I like the sounds of that. Dude, when you talk about like that type of weight cut, and I know that there's legitimately terrifying sometimes involved with this, but I see that like, how is that just normal for you? Like, how are you able to go through that and just because like from the far away, it legitimately looks like death. Like when we see like wrap yourselves up like that, how is that just normal for you?
Bro, honestly, that was probably one of the worst things I've done since I've started fighting. But like we knew we had to get it done because it obviously paid off. But man, we were going from the sauna bed to a steam room to the steam room, back to the sauna bed, over to shadow boxing, had the temperature up in the hotel to 90 degrees. We slept in the 90 degrees and we didn't eat nothing, man. It was so bad. But at the end of the cut, I had like nothing left to where all I could do is move my feet and kind of dance because my arms weren't lifting up. It was a rough time. It was a rough time.
God, that is so terrifying, bro.
Yeah.
Again,
The day of weigh-ins on Monday, we woke up at 3:45 a.m. and cut until 9 o'clock at weigh-ins. And we had 4.5 to cut that day.
and how much did you put back on before the fights?
We walked into the octagon at 212.
Jeez. Okay. All right. Just because I don't know, what do you have to do in order to be able to put that much back on? Like, what does that actually look like in a short amount of time?
So we usually get like 2-3 Pedialytes in us. We drink.
Yeah.
I try to drink it as slow as possible after weigh-ins, because if you drink that quick after you cut weight like that, you'll mess up all your insides because it's not used to it. So I got like my coach and stuff sitting next to me, so I don't freaking chug the whole thing right away. Water.
It's all you probably want to do. It's got to be like a natural human reaction. Like, bro, I just want.
It's so bad. He's got to literally hand it to me, and like, the lids on top of the Pedialyte, we'll fill that up, sip, fill that up, sip. It's bad, bro. It's so crazy. The last one was probably the worst one I've ever had.
Man, that's nuts, dude. That's nuts. Well, but you got your contract. You got your contract.
Yep.
That's the way it goes. Dylan, so happy for you, man. Let's make sure we get the plugs in. Twitter, Instagram, website. What all can we plug for you? Where can Baltimore sports fans be giving you a follow as you start on this journey in the UFC?
You can check out my Instagram at the Mindless Hawk. You can check out my Twitter at Dylan Budka 83 kgs. You can check out Facebook, Dylan Budka. I got new merch out, my UFC collection, on mindlessmaniacs.com. And that's it. I appreciate y'all so much, and I appreciate you, bro, for having me.
Dude, really, I can't say it enough. And I didn't even know the story about your family, man. I got 2 sons. That's powerful. That's really powerful stuff, man.
Thank you, bro.
Rooting for you and your success as you move forward with this, and we will be in touch. Thank you for spending a couple of minutes with us this morning.
I appreciate you, bro. I'll be back after I get that couple wins on the UFC.